I just want to bring up the passing yard leaders. Props, I guess, futures. If you have it, Tyler, just kind of give you a little bit of a feel here. So Justin Herbert's the favorite here at plus 650. Tom Brady 8-1. Mahomes 8-1. We got Stafford and Carr at 10-1. You know, the Las Vegas offensive line. It's right to have some issues about their offensive line too. Like the Bucks. Guys are falling down left, right, and center, but Las Vegas's offensive line has looked real leaky here so far. And it does seem like Zamir White is ahead of Kenyon Drake. Do not draft Drake in your drafts. I think it's another crowded back. I don't think you want anybody in Las Vegas out of that backfield. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, 12-1. I think some pretty good value on these two guys, right? Absolutely. Josh Allen does like to spread the ball around. We like Gabe Davis this season. I'm definitely drinking the Kool-Aid. I love it. He's not going to get too rich for me unless he comes up to like wide receiver 25, but I really like Gabe Davis. I think he's going to be a guy that gets double-digit touchdowns. We know Stephon Diggs is really good. We like Isaiah McKenzie on this show. James Cook is an added element to their backfield, something that they just haven't had over the past couple of years. At least with this core, they haven't had a pass-catching back that can take a 5-yard screen and take it to the house or turn it to a 20-yard, passing play. So that adds a little bit more to Allen and his passing upside. We know he likes to run the rock and call his own number, and that's why we're getting 12-1 here. But him and Joe Burrow really stand out to me in terms of guys that you can take shots on. And Burrow, we know that, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are fantastic. Tyler Boyd is underrated. And you got guys out of the backfield that can catch as well. And Joe Mixon does catch, believe it or not, even though Samaje Perine's a guy that gets on the field in third down situations. Russell Wilson's the other guy that I wanted to bring up here at 20-1. I think it's pretty good value. He will cook a little bit more than he did in Seattle. I do believe it will be run heavy, and they're going to use both backs, but both backs and Williams and Melvin Gordon can catch. We like Cortland Sutton, one of the best deep balls in the game. 74 pass attempts of at least 20 yards last year, which was number one in the NFL. 19% of his passing yards, at least 20 yards. That's number one as well. So Russell Wilson, great deep ball, maybe cooks a little bit more than last year. Got Jerry Jeudy on the squad as well. KJ Hamler, who could maybe be like a bubble screen guy, crossing routes, is very explosive after the catch. He's interesting as well. So wanted to toss those names at you. I don't think we'll see much movement, but if you want to put a little sprinkle there on maybe Burrow, Allen, or Russell Wilson, those would be my three there. Dak looks like a deal. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I think he signed a contract a little while ago. Maybe Dak is maybe a shot there. I think it's okay, but yeah, 14-1. You lose Amari Cooper, a lot of question marks. Who's the third there in the offense? I think it's okay, right? Dallas did lead the NFL in passing, in total yards, I think, per game and points per game. So I think it's okay. Yeah, I'd rather do Allen or Burrow. Yeah, me too. Daily handle. I think it's okay for Dak. Man, if Gallup was healthy, you'd be looking at him a little bit differently. I don't think there's really any time to bring up wide receivers. I don't think there is. Bring it up quickly, Tyler. Quick. Just to show. Boom. It's actually only one guy I want to bring up to you guys. Cortland Sutton, 45-1. Kidding me? How can Jerry Jeudy be 25-1? Cortland Sutton is the A dot. We've talked about it so much. A dot high, one of the highest. Deep target percentage, targets over 20 yards, high, inside the top 10. Russell Wilson, just talking about him last block, 19% of his targets, 20 yards down the field, number one. Most pass attempts, 20 yards down the field. Very accurate, right? No Tim Patrick. Cortland Sutton, 45-1, I think is terrific value. I think Marquise Brown is interesting at 40-1 as well, especially no DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 weeks of the season. Clearly, these two, in Kyler and Marquise Brown, Hollywood have a connection together. There's no question about that. They balled out together in Oklahoma. I think he's pretty good value as well. Not a lot of value on the left, Devontae Adams, 12-1. I think even Jefferson at 8-1 if you wanted to go that way. But we're looking at some long shots here. So I would go Pittman, 35, Marquise Brown, 40-1, and then Cortland Sutton, 45-1. Even Pitts. Pitts is probably in for 1,000 yards, maybe flirts with 1,200 yards. And I think Mark Andrews is a terrific value in there as well. Could have like another season with almost 1,400 yards. We're actually looking at rushing yard futures. We did quarterbacks yesterday, passing yards, and we did wide receivers. So Tyler, let's bring this up and we'll say goodbye to the future stuff for today, and we'll round out Mean Streets with a couple MLB picks. So Taylor is the favorite here at plus 450. Derrick Henry 650. I think there's really good value on Javonte Williams at 20-1, even though we've talked a lot about on the show Melvin Gordon. But if anything happens to Melvin Gordon, right? He was on the list, Williams, in terms of forced missed tackles, and he's just really good. I think he is sneaky at 20-1. I think that Cam Akers is sneaky, believe it or not, at 30-1, even though he's dealing with some injury stuff. I think on the right side of the board, Leonard Fournette at 40-1. I think even though there's some offensive line questions, I think there's like a 0.25, play there for Leonard Fournette at 40-1. But how about Saquon, guys? How about Saquon Barclay? We talked about him in the last block at 40-1 here. I think it's a pretty decent, shot. Or Aaron Jones at 60-1, or somebody that's not on this list, AJ Dillon at 80-1. I put in the FTN bet tracker at 0.25 units over at BetMGM to lead the NFL in rushing yards. If anything happened to Aaron Jones, this is a guy that could get 1,300 rushing yards. He was just shy of 1,000 last year. I think he gets to 1,000 this year, even with Aaron Jones on the squad. They are going to rely on both of their running backs in Green Bay, run the rock, rely on the defense, play at a bit of a slower pace. A lot of question marks at the wide receiver position there. So there's a couple that stand out. I'd love to hear who stands out for you guys as well.